The first half of the 1960s saw 4 fatal crashes in Formula 1 World Championship races. The same as in the entire 1950s, not counting Indy 500. 2 of those happened on Spa in 1960, and we are ignoring that Mike Taylor suffered a career-ending crash which left him paralyzed for some time, as well as an accident involving Sir Sterling Moss, in the result of which he missed 3 races. Regulations for the 1966 season doubled the engine displacement from 1.5 to 3 liters. The same year saw 7 cars crash on the opening lap of the rainy Belgian Grand Prix. One of the cars was being driven by Sir Jackie Stewart, who aquaplaned, knocked down a telegraph pole, hit a wooden cottage, and then had to wait for 25 minutes until Graham Hill and Bob Bondurant unscrewed his steering wheel off, which trapped him in a car full of fuel. A year later, Mike Parks rolled his Ferrari, was thrown out of it, and broke both of his legs. After the incident, he never returned to Formula 1. Brian Redman suffered a suspension failure and broke his arm in 1968. 1969 edition was boycotted and the final race of the old layout was hosted in 1970 after the track received safety changes such as adding a chicane in Malmedy and barriers being placed in the most dangerous sections. This still wasn't enough, and in 1971 Belgian Grand Prix wasn't on the Formula 1 calendar. Of course, 2 other Belgian racetracks took advantage of this absence until the return of Spa in 1985. These tracks being Zolder, which hosted 10 races, and Nivelles, that only did 2. With Zolder being quite an established circuit to this day, I will bring you to Nivelles, which hosted the first Belgian Grand Prix which didn't take place on Spa thanks to the Cruise F17 mod. Welcome from Nivelles. We have 26 cars contesting this race. The grid is fully accurate to that of the real race. All of the cars are in places they're qualified in, so we have Emerson Fittipaldi on pole in his Lotus. Behind him is Clay Regazzoni in that weird looking Ferrari. It's a goofy looking car, not the only one though. Of course, the car design of early 70s is questionable. Eiffelland is another goofy looking car, and if we go on board, that mirror absolutely blocks your vision. That mirror placement is the reason why we are driving a March. Lauda had a quite rocky start to his Formula 1 career, so we'll be starting this race from 25th spot on the grid. But enough talking, let's start this race. 5 lights. And it's go go go, no yellow flags, so probably no one stalled on the grid. Of course, couple of slow starters. And we are starting from the back, so we have to kind of suffer all of the roadblocks happening. This is a really interesting grid. We have Helmut Marko, for example, before his injury. I had to turn on my mirrors. There's also Mike Bottler. I don't know how to pronounce it. It looks German. He's from Great Britain though. He was the first openly gay Formula 1 driver. So there's quite a lot of interesting characters here. Of course you have the Eiffelland car. They only been like in Formula 1 for 1 season. There's also Techno Martini, another team that was quite short-lived. Of course, a couple of people who were renowned drivers from the 60s. There's Danny Hulme, Graham Hill. The major lacking driver here is Jackie Stewart. He, quite ironically, was the main person leading the safety crusade. But when this track opened and was probably the safest venue in Formula 1 at the time, he was absent. He had some sort of health problem. Doctors said stop with racing for a month. We're gonna be fine, but just take a break. He was indeed fine, he came back, but he was absent for this Grand Prix. The attendance, quite okay. Around 100,000 spectators came to witness the first Belgian Grand Prix on Nivelles. Probably most of that attendance was due to the fact that A, the track was new, B, Belgium didn't have Grand Prix in 1971, so they were quite desperate to see some racing. Although the drivers and the fans weren't big fans of this track, drivers complained that it's quite boring. I mean, it's nothing compared to the thrill of Spa-Francorchamps. And for spectators, compare those runoffs to anything that was hosting Grand Prix around that time, and you will understand, oh yeah, they couldn't be a centimeter of the cars and complained. Nivelles only hosted racing for around 10 years, so it was quite a short-lived track. The majority of the big racing series came here at the beginning of the track lifespan. Formula 1 came here in 1972, 1974, Formula 2 came here during 1973 season. Of course, the track was switching every year with Zolder. Zolder came victorious. Oh, and the car spinning right in front of us. I wonder if he made contact. Oh yeah, the car behind us lacking its rear wing. So things are happening here at Nivelles. Emerson Fittipaldi seemed to master the track. He won both of the Formula 1 races. If I remember correctly, Jean-Pierre Jarier won in 1973 Formula 2 race, starting from pole position. The track quickly started falling apart. I mean, the races were being hosted here during its construction. The grandstands weren't even ready for those first races happening here in 1971. Some could argue that the track was never really finished because they haven't made a proper sector 3. They have run out of money to buy the land needed. So this is the final corner, but the track was supposed to go a little bit longer than that. The construction of the track was rushed, so in 1976 the race didn't happen because simply the track was falling apart. Another problem of the events was the financial problems the track was having basically through its entire lifespan. I'm sorry, I just hate the mirror placement on most of these cars. You have to use look right, look left buttons, and that's just really not convenient. As the track infrastructure and the roads were deteriorating, the track lost its license. The track was hosting some karting events, but that too stopped coming here. And after the track closed, the racing really didn't stop because the track was being used by street races. But of course the track was demolished in the late 90s, and now there's nothing remaining of it besides the road layout. If you went to Nivelles, to the place the track used to be, you would see that the layout of the roads is really similar to what we are currently driving at. That's because the track had a drainage system that was cheaper to reuse than to make a new one, so they went with it. Nivelles is quite nostalgic to me. I made a video 2 or 3 years ago about the track. Of course the quality of it is horrendous. If someone wants to have a laugh, you can go to my channel, click playlist, there's gonna be one called Forgotten F1 Tracks, and there's a video about Nivelles. It was my first one to break the barrier of 1000 views, so I will never forget what Nivelles has done to my YouTube career. Thank you. But we have still 2 laps to go in this race. That's a mechanical failure for Ferrari. We are in 10th place, so we gained quite a lot of places this race. I have a confession, I'm not a big fan of those 70s cars. They are just too understeery for me. We're not gonna catch that car ahead. I don't know who's that. In the process of installing this mod, I broke the pit board, or whatever you call that thing, in the top right corner. Another yellow flag. No, that's still that Ferrari. Jackie X actually had a mechanical failure in 1972. The track runoffs did a job and slowed him down, and he suffered no injuries. So if that was Jackie X, that's actually a quite cool fact, but that was the last overtake we could do in this race. It's lap 12 out of 12. We are coming to And our last lap. I wonder why he slowed down so much. Was that damage or... Yeah, that was Jackie X! F1 Challenge is the most realistic game out there. Danny Hulme won the race by 27 seconds. I have no idea how he done that. What lap times was he doing? In 1 minute 7? How? He was 4 seconds faster. This cannot be a legal car. He has 7 kilometers per hour better average speed than Emerson Fittipaldi. But anyway, there's really not that much to talk about. I mean, the track had a lifespan of around 10 years, and it's not documented that well. Especially the stuff outside of Formula 1 that happened here. Even the trusty racing sports cars has basically no records of the track. Yeah, I thought that's gonna be a fun video before the GTR to PPR stuff. Because I have to do a lot of setup work for my car and for the AI. I hope you all have a good day. This was Bill Brama. This was F1 Challenge with Cruise F17 mod. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.